My family, mom, dad, preteen brother, teenage sister, was staying with me and my fiancé at our place. They got here on the 1st and were meant to stay until the 21st. My parents have always had knocking-related issues, which is part of why I was so happy to move out of their place. On getting here, Mom decided to make everyone breakfast every single day. While I think this is very nice of her, she makes it when she wakes up at 7 and it's done at 7:30. So if anyone isn't awake and sits at the table for 7:30, she'll come get them. My fiancé and I are not morning people, and even before lockdown, we never had to get up before 8. But now we're working from home, we've been getting up closer to 10. So for a week, Mom has been barging into our room to wake us every morning. It's summer, or at least summer adjacent. It's hot as hell F. So my fiancé is usually just in boxers, and I'm just in my underwear, comfy bra and pants. My fiancé has a couple scars on his chest from a surgery years ago, and my bra has a tendency to roll up, down, left and right. So on any given morning, we could look like anything. This morning, Mom said she had a click and collect order to get from the supermarket, so she and my sister went to get it. They came back and Mom picked up a bag and asked me to talk in another room. I went with her and she handed me the bag, which contained 4 pairs of pajamas, 2 men, 2 women, all supermarket own brand. They are full-on long trouser, long sleeve things with cuffs around the wrists and ankles to stop them slipping too far. Mom basically said she got them so she doesn't have to see mine and my fiancé's bare chests every morning, as it's making her feel awkward. I then said that there was another way. She could stop barging into our bedroom every morning. This caused Mom to get annoyed and a fight started pretty quickly, where her side was that she felt unwelcome because she had to see that every morning, and I said that it was our house and she needs to learn to knock. Eventually, Mom complained that it didn't feel like home, and I responded that it's not their home. Mom then went and told everyone to pack their bags because clearly they're not welcome here. They were out in the car in less than 10 minutes. It's 4 a.m., 12 hours after the fight, and I've had dozens of texts from all 4 of them. They're currently at a crappy hotel in the next town because we're a 10-hour drive from home. They all want to come back. I've said no. They're calling me an a-hole because I kicked them out over sleepwear and won't let them come back despite everyone having had time to cool off and Mom apologizing, though it was half-arsed. My fiancé is actually relieved they're gone but has said they can come back if I want, as his family have stayed for a full month before now. But I'm torn between being annoyed at Mom, trying to take over my house and feeling ridiculous because this is all over Mom buying me pajamas. Am I the a-hole? OP, your mom can be welcomed in your home and not welcomed in your bedroom. Honestly though, I would only let them come back if Mom promised both. To not enter your bedroom again under any circumstances and stops trying to wake you up before you're ready to get up. No breakfast on earth is delicious enough to have to get up at 7:30 a.m. to eat it. Not the a-hole OP, but you should still invite them back, unless of course you're prepared to irreparably damage the relationship going forward. In which case, do what you want. Just recognize the fallout. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. You did a lot better than me. I would have stayed in bed after the first day or 2 and skipped breakfast. That was her way of controlling the house. You had some terrific answers to her trying to make you into her and your home hers. Honestly, I feel like I would have thrown the pajamas out in the yard. So you did well, girl. If you really want them back, make it on your terms, respecting your privacy and sleep schedule, and no pajamas. Not the a-hole at all. First, you didn't kick them out over pajamas. They got into a huff and decided to leave on their own. Actions have consequences. Second, your mom severely overstepped, waking you up each morning and coming into your room unasked. Third, her issue with what you choose to sleep in your own house is not her concern. It's your house and you sleep how you want. Finally, your sleepwear should not be a problem if Mom wasn't barging in to wake you up when she thinks you should be getting up. Here's the thing. Having a lock on the door is a really good way to enforce a boundary, and shows someone crossing said boundary how not to cross it. I pay my parents' rent, and my mom still just walks into my room even when I try to stop her. It's not 100% her fault. She has ADHD and impulsivity problems. So there's no pause between things I need to do and, oh wait. So she just walks in because she needs to talk to me, but she forgets knocking because no on-deck space. I needed to replace my doorknob anyway, so I got a locking one. I explained I would be locking my door when necessary, and repeated incidents of her hitting the locked door have worked better than constantly talking to her. So her habit has become knock first. Story 2. I have 2 sons and a daughter. I feel I have provided a great life for them. I helped them in their studies, spent time and vacations with them, and even provided monetary assistance with school, cars, etc. The goal was always for them to be independent. That said, the economy has been nicer to me than them. In March of last year, my oldest had a baby with his wife. I decided to start a trust fund for my grandbaby so that he will be provided for when he goes to college. My daughter just announced her own pregnancy in July, so I gave her an early baby shower gift by creating a trust for her baby. My younger son decided he and his wife were not going to have a kid. That's fine. Personally, I think that's a good choice for him. I would love more grandbabies, but he and his wife are not the most responsible of people. Well, when I told my daughter about the trust, my son's wife started acting off. I come to find out later that both she and my son are upset about how I didn't give them trust. But the trust isn't to my children, it's to my grandchildren. Who am I supposed to give it to? Their cats? Personally, I'm of the mind that they are entitled to my money. I told them absolutely not, that they were adults and could provide for themselves, that my older 2 children were taking on a financial burden, and my goal is to ease that burden off of my grandkids. They claimed I was punishing them for being responsible and trying to force them to have kids. Well, my son went complaining to his aunt, my sister-in-law, and now she's trying to convince him, edit, my husband, not my son, to start a fund for my youngest, like a housing fund. I told my husband absolutely not, and he thinks I'm being unreasonable. Am I the a-hole? You're not the a-hole, OP. It's your money and you should totally do with it whatever it is you want. You are a great parent and grandparent. Your kids are lucky to have you. In this matter, I understand your side. It's not like you're dashing out money to your other 2 kids who have children. You're setting up a trust fund for their kids. Your other son has no kid, so a trust fund really isn't necessary for him. But in this equation, he's feeling left out and probably hurt. Yes, he's acting entitled to your money, but if you don't want this to go on any longer than it has, then talk to him. Then you can try explaining your point of view to him, and hopefully he understands. Now for some comments. It's my understanding that with most trust funds, the grandchildren wouldn't even have access to the money until after they turn 18. In that case, OP isn't even remotely just handing out money to their other 2 kids for immediate use on whatever they want. If OP were to start a housing fund for their 3rd kid, that would beg the question, what about the other 2? Should they get housing funds too, since the trust funds are going to the grandchildren? Definitely not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, and mind you, I'm fairly young all things considered, late 20s. I agree that he's being entitled. But I also think he's willfully ignoring the purpose and idea behind what you are doing. Mostly because he feels that if you, for lack of a better way to phrase it, are just giving away free money, why can't he get a slice of that? So he is trying to shift circumstances so he can just do that. You're not being unreasonable, he is. And what's more, I think he's trying to get something for nothing by manipulating the people around you. It doesn't sound like this was your intention, but your youngest probably sees this as favoritism. Take the child or grandchild relationship out of it and look at it like this. You gave 2 out of 3 families a gift. How can the excluded family not feel hurt? I think the thought process of, your children didn't get the money, it's for grandkids, is wrong. The parents may not have direct access to the funds, but you've indirectly decreased their financial burden. You've also provided those families with an extra peace of mind. I mean, you're not the a-hole. It's your money, do with it as you please, but actions have consequences. Whether you agree with it or not, your actions hurt your youngest child. It's up to you if you want to repair that damage. Story 3. For some background, I'm 24 female and my fiancé is 28 male. We've been dating for around 3 years and we met at a yoga class I taught. My fiancé comes from amazing wealth, compared to my family at least. And for some context, his family owns several million-dollar homes, including a couple that he technically owns. He's really been cagey about only one thing, and we're nearly perfect on everything else, which is paying off my student loans. Due to some poor choices on my end, I ended up with nearly $100,000 in debt, which is a huge burden for me to carry. Given the circumstances and the ridiculous rates I have to pay, not to mention its effect on my credit score, and upward mobility from a career perspective, we've largely agreed that he will pay things off once we settle down, which is his family's way of telling us to get married. With the wedding less than 3 months away, he's getting cold feet. His dad is fine, but he doesn't want to go behind my fiancé's back. I am aghast and indignant that he's suddenly pulling out of something we've talked about. And it worries me about the future where in marriage, he's going to be strict with his money and my money, which is not what I have in mind. Given his family's wealth, I will be signing a prenup of sorts and have spoken to a family friend who is a lawyer who agrees that it's not an onerous thing. With all of that down, I'm disappointed and hurt to see him go back on his word. I want to put my foot down and insist on this before we get married. I want him to follow through or at least set up a payment plan in the next few months. In all the stress of wedding planning, he's conveniently pushing away this conversation, which is his way of avoiding it. I wonder how things will be after marriage. And this is something I don't want to think about. What should I do? Am I the a-hole if he's the one who backed off on a promise that means a lot to me and helps me immensely in my career and work-life situation? Now for some comments. You're the a-hole. You're an entitled person and a gold digger. You are entitled to nothing from him. The emphasis you put on paying your debt may be why he's getting cold feet, that you only see him as your piggy bank. Reading your comments, I see you have said, he can afford to give me a clean start and give me the mental fortitude to rebuild things. Do you know who else can help you rebuild things? Yourself. You're the a-hole. How on earth could a reasonable spouse put their foot down and demand their significant other works out a payment plan for their debt, especially when the debt you incurred was just that, yours? Do you legitimately think that his family is well off because they give handouts to people? You've admitted that it's your burden, so own it. So own it. This doesn't happen overnight, nor with a few poor choices. Bottom line is you racked up your debt, and you're the a-hole if you expect anyone other than yourself to get you out of it. You're the a-hole, even more after reading your comments, because you present the issue as though the debt is due to past mistakes and that you have changed your behavior around finances. But admit that you thought it was a good idea to attempt to start up a new company with a friend, right out of college and with $100,000 in debt. Your business is not earning a profit, but you don't want to walk away and get an office job. Newsflash, what you want is not really relevant if you were truly committed to paying back your debt and making better financial choices. You clearly have learned nothing from the experience so far and probably won't if he pays the debt off for you. How are you currently paying for your existence? Is he already having to pay to maintain your life?